Good morning, beautiful souls. I was really inspired to share this video since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is exactly 1 year since my family tragedy. A year ago, I had one of the worst things happen to me. Most of you know, most of you were here to give me your condolences, support, and share with me just any kind of optimism. And I started to feel a lot better about everything, I would say about 2 months ago. So it took time to heal from this tragedy, and I'm still healing, but to where I felt better and felt like my old self again, motivated, encouraged to focus on my health, encouraged to focus on my finances, and not mourn so much anymore, even though I still have my moments of mourning. But I took time to just take a break from all that. You guys know I'm very motivated, self-driven, and love health and fitness and self-help and self-transformation stuff. But last year, for 10 months after the family tragedy, I took the time to pause that, other than still continuing my yoga teacher training, which helped me immensely. I can't thank the universe enough with the alignment of me having the financial and opportunity to take that class while this tragedy happened about 4 months into it. So I had another about 4 months of, no, about 5 months into it. I had another 4 months of class into it after the tragedy, which really helped me heal and know how to actually allow myself to feel and to accept what was going on. And that's why I wanted to come on here and encourage anyone else that has suffered from a family tragedy, or anyone that's currently going through a family crisis of such where you lose a beloved. It's so hard to say goodbye to a sacred, loving soul. It's so hard, especially when it hurt the person I love the most, my daughter. And seeing her hurt is just something a mother I wish would not have to experience. That you just want to take all your child's pain away, and no matter what I did, I couldn't do that. So that's where it came into self-realization of actually what was going on. And I'm going to talk about the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief, I'm sure most of us have all heard. There's books about it, professionals use it, and what has helped me. The first one, and how Facebook has helped me. So there's 5 stages of grief. There's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And I want to make it point crystal clear that these stages don't come in any specific pattern, and can come at any time, and can come back at any time. You could revisit the same emotion as well through your grieving process. And grief is not an ending cycle. You could grieve for eternity, but it's just understanding the stages and knowing to allow yourself to feel, and allowing yourself for expression of what's going on with you. Not keeping things pent in. You know, one of my favorite expressions is always express and never suppress, and I always knew that. But it was really hard when I was trying to be so strong for my daughter that I wasn't allowing myself to feel. So there was a point to where I had to say, okay, there's nothing I could do to take this pain away from my daughter. I, only could give her a certain amount of distractions. I could only give her a certain amount of joys, and she's going to have to go through it. She's going to have to feel those pitfalls. We're going to all have to feel those pitfalls, and we're all going to have to shake ourselves out of it once we realize we don't like feeling like that, and get up and do the work and allow ourselves to feel and talk to ourselves, and go talking to somebody that you trust, or preferably a professional, because that really helped me. You guys know that I love journaling, I love yoga, I love meditation, which are all really good healing practices, especially for trauma of any kind. But one of the new practices that I implemented was therapy, and I implemented that about 4 months ago, just recently actually, when I regret not doing that sooner, because it would have helped me process a lot more instead of just feeling lonely and thinking and processing in myself, in my own mind. There's nothing like expressing it out verbally to somebody, especially a professional, because they give really good feedback, or they just remain quiet. They're really great listeners. Because when you're able to just process it yourself and get the words out, there's a great immense of healing that happens. There's a lot of acceptance. So as you see, the first one is denial. So it really helps with that. That way you're able to really come in the presence of the now and just accept what happened. And that way you could start to brainstorm and create a blueprint for what your present's going to be like and your future. Because when you're accepting of something, you're no longer attached to being in denial. And when you're in denial, there's a stagnation that happens. There's a stagnation of you don't know what move to make. And when you feel like that and you feel lost of what move to make in your life, then that really causes depression, because like you lost your path. You don't know what move to make. You feel lost, you feel alone, you feel suffocated, and you don't want to, you don't want to aid to your suffering of depression. You want to try to get some clarity and feel motivated again, and see your path, see your vision, see your goals and what you want to manifest in your life. So that really helped with me. And then there was anger. For me, actually, I'm going to say mine in the way that they hit me. Bargaining was next after denial and acceptance. With Facebook really helped me accept it, because it's kind of like that cliche thing, when it's on Facebook, it's real life. And it really did happen for me like that. When I first had got the news, I was in denial. No, it didn't happen. Like, no. And then once I seen like everyone sharing it on Facebook and sending your condolences to me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just started to melt into who and what I was feeling, which was good for me though, because that was accepting for me. So can't thank you guys enough how that really added a lot of clarity to me and what was going on with my life and how my life was changing so fast. And then there was bargaining. Bargaining came really actually fast, like the next day. Like, what if I could have did this to intervene, and I could have avoided that, and I could have did this, and why wasn't I there, and why didn't I say this, and why wasn't I more actionable, why wasn't I more dominant to try to help? So bargaining came really, really quick. And then you can really wear yourself out with bargaining, because you're inside your head thinking of all these like what ifs. And then that's when depression came. I think because I was so tired, and I can't thank you guys enough for all your prayers and positive and condolences. I was so fatigued where I couldn't pray, which is a scary place to be, just so tired and hopeless. And that's when the power of positivity of others and others that are not, so personally impacted could be the light for you. And that's why I'm so motivated to be the light for others, because I know what it feels like when you just feel like you're in complete darkness and you have no energy to even like cultivate or create a positive thought. There's just like this gray cloud on you, and you feel like it's suffocating you, and it's all around you, and you can't get out of it. And that's okay. That's a part of accepting it and allowing yourself to feel, but you just don't want to stay there. There's got to be a day where you say, okay, that's enough. You got to remember what and how you used to feel before the crisis. This is not you. Don't take that new identity on as it being you, as your personal identity. You got to be like, oh, all right, I need to heal. And then that's when I contacted a professional, and I'm like, I'm doing journaling, I'm doing meditation, I'm doing reading. There's still something that I can't shake. I can't shake these bad vibes, this heaviness. And that's when I got with a professional. I actually have a psychologist that I work with now It really helps me, like I said, verbally process. And I actually went and got an energy clearing as well from an energy worker, like the Reiki worker, just to help me with any stagnation, because I could feel these cords and attachments that were weighing me too. And they really helped me relieve that. I shared that on my Facebook and my Instagram, and that really helped me. And that's because I had a lot of guilt that came with the bargaining. Like, what if I did this? What if I did that? And I was shaming myself for not being there myself, and guilting myself for not taking a certain action that could have prevented the ultimate outcome of the family tragedy. And then for me, in there too, before the depression actually, was anger. Oh, I was so angry. And I think I more so got angry before I involved the professional, because I was trying to be so strong for my daughter that I wasn't allowing myself to be sad. I noticed with myself, a pivotal thing that I have discovered for myself is if I don't allow myself to be sad, so if I don't allow myself to cry and feel and just mourn, I become angry. So that's where I need to allow myself to cry. And it's okay, guys. I'm gonna let you know that it's okay. And my psychologist has talked to me about that too. I'm so strong and always trying to hold everything together, and I love it. That's who I am. That's a personal characteristic of me, and since childhood, that has been me. That's been a main identity of me. But when it comes to mourning and grieving, you gotta allow yourself to feel. You gotta allow yourself to be sad. And that's why I took 10 months from the gym off, because yoga is just more philosophical for me. I feel graceful and strong in the gym. I feel more brute, masculine and strong, and don't want to really pierce me and don't want to really express either. So I know yoga would help me, so I just halted the whole weightlifting part of me and that lifestyle for me to just yoga, and I gained a little bit of weight, and I told myself that's okay, because I'm gonna eat some comfort food. Still, I did really kind of intuitive eating, so I still kept some boundaries on it, but I allowed myself to eat some savory foods that I haven't allowed myself to eat in over 7 years, because I knew I was mourning, and I knew I was grieving, and I knew I needed some comfort, and I didn't just fully sulk in that. I did, like I said, meditation, journaling, meeting up with my psychologist the last 4 months, and talking as much as I could about it with my beloved, and talking to myself. I have recorded some videos where I just share what my own personal epiphanies are, mental breakthroughs and things like that. So I would encourage you to allow yourself to feel sad. There's nothing that's the worst feeling of keeping all that in, and then it ultimately manifests to anger, and anger becomes dangerous, because then you end up hurting innocent people, potentially also hurting yourself in numerous ways, physical, mentally, emotionally, and it just adds to the suffering. So I would allow yourself to go through the process of the 5 stages of grief. Acceptance was one of them. That came, like I said, really soon for me. As soon as I seen it on Facebook, I accepted, kind of. And like I said, you go back and forth though, because then I went with bargaining, and then I went back to accepting, and then I went back to anger. And right now I'm in a state of acceptance with everything. A year into it. I know I'm in a much greater place. These last 2 months, I was feeling the energy of the anniversary arriving about 2 months ago, and I told myself, okay, you allowed yourself to grieve for almost practically a whole year. It's time to get back to your vision. It's time to get back to who you are, remembering your true purpose, what you feel is your true passion, to lift others up. For me, to support others, to be a yoga instructor, to cultivate that positivity, to be the light, to be the lighthouse for other people, to be that self-catalyst of self-help transformation. And you could do it. And it's so important to me to be that light. And so I remembered what my purpose was. I realigned and reacquainted with that, and that really helped with the Reiki session that I experienced as well, letting go of all that guilt and that shame, because guilt and shame could really weigh you down, and it is darkness, so it could really dim your light as well, and it's unnecessary. You know, we got to just trust in the unfolding of our lives, even when it ends up being, unfortunately, tragic things that you don't want to happen. You didn't see this happening. It comes abruptly. It takes your breath away. It takes your foundation away. And that's one thing that I would do, and I still do, is taking deep breaths into my toes and feeling the ground at feet and becoming present in my body, and knowing that we all experience these tragedies. We all experience this crisis in different degrees, and what makes you be a difference is being the light and expressing and sharing your story for others, to encourage others that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and allow yourself to feel through the process, but don't lose yourself in the process. Reacquaint with yourself, reacquaint with what you love, reacquaint with what your passion is, and allow the others around you that are experiencing the tragedy of the crisis or the circumstance or the trauma, allow them to feel and let them know that it's safe to express and never suppress, and give them some of the guidance that's been helping you. So ultimately, that's why I want to share this video. Seek professional help immediately. I would go see a therapist, psychologist, or even a friend that you trust. Be honest too. Speak truth, speak from the heart, speak what you feel, and journal and talk to yourself, journaling too. And what really helped me get back to my path of who I am and my purpose was script journaling. Script journaling is when you journal what you want to manifest in the future as if it's present. So that really helped bring a lot of positivity to me. So I would say, you know, oh, I love my own business. I make 60 grand this year. I love my relationship with my daughter. I love that I'm healed from the trauma. I trust in the unfolding of life itself. I trust life. I appreciate life. I love who I am. I'm debt free. So you speak it as if it's already into existence. And that really helped create a lot of positivity for me these last 2 months, because for the first 10 months, like I said, my vision was very murky. And when I started script journaling, it really added a lot of clarity, as well as seeking the professional help to talk to my psychologist, and just being able to process and it verbally expressing out through my mouth. Like, I was my own healer, regardless of, like, he didn't even have to be there. Like, my psychologist didn't even have to be there. It was me just saying the words and processing and digesting and verbally communicating to myself. And then after that, it would just feel like, clarity. And that's who I am. And that's who I forever will be. And if you're going through a hard time, I encourage you to allow yourself to feel. Don't self-medicate in any substances, because that's just going to make it worse. I would get self-help practices such as meditation, journaling, therapy, exercise. Try to eat healthy foods, because that really helps, because eating heavier or dense preservative foods will make you feel more dense. And a lot of us go through that bargaining stage, which is almost like guilt, like I said, and shame, and you don't want to add to that, because that stuff gets really heavy. And remembering who you are, remembering why your whys are. Why do you get up in the morning? What gives you light? What gives you motivation? What gives you purpose? And just know that you're not the only one that's going through a loss. There's different people that experience different losses in different ways, but it hurts the same. It feels the same, and we feel the pain just like you are, and you're not alone. It's just a part of life, unfortunately, and accepting that this life is duality. There's pleasure and pain. There's light and dark. There's love and hate. There's happy and sad. So I hope this helped, this video expressing it. Like I said, it's been 1 year for me, and I feel back reacquainted with who I am and my purpose. And not to say the least that these little guys won't peek up every now and then. And they do, and at different times, especially when I'm trying to mother my daughter and she's having her moments where these emotions come forward, and we're just there to help each other out. And I always tell everyone and her, it's okay to feel this way. You're not alone, and give her a big hug. I try to hug her and cuddle with her. With that said, hope this video helped, and I love you guys all, and we'll see how everything turns out, and trust in the unfolding of your beautiful life, and know that you're a beautiful, infinite soul full of light, potential, and purpose. Peace, love, and light. Namaste.